Hi! It's been a while since I last filmed and I'm quite nervous. I don't know why. I guess my last podcast got way more views than I thought it would, and that means a lot. That meant that a lot of people left nice comments, but there was also people who left negative comments. So I'm just asking you to please be kind in this one. I already feel better just sitting here. I just put the camera on right now, so I'm a bit out of breath. I've been curling my hair with a flat iron. I think it looks pretty, but it's been quite annoying like this. So I might put it up later in the podcast, but I have my computer right here. I've made some notes of the things I'm going to talk about, and I think that will help me. I also have all my things here, whips and things like that. So let's just get into it. It's Friday today, the 25th. It's sunny outside, but the sun is like coming and going, so if the lighting changes, you know why. And I also just quickly want to mention, before we get into all the knitting and things, that it's kind of everything that's going on. It's incredibly scary, and I hope you're safe. I hope you're doing okay. And how I'm feeling with everything going on is I feel very helpless, like there's nothing I can do. But I will leave some resources in the description of ways you can donate to Ukraine and things like that. And I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're safe. And it feels kind of strange sitting here talking about knitting and the things I've bought when such terrible things are going on, but it's calming me down. So hopefully it's calming you down as well, and we can just take a moment to calm down and feel a bit more happier, I guess. But as I said, resources will be in the description. And one thing you can also do is that tomorrow, I'll try to upload this today, the 26th, yeah, on Saturday, tomorrow, Knitting for Olive will donate all of their money they get to Ukraine, to the Red Cross. So that's also a way that you can help. But stay safe. I hope you're doing well. And let's get into what I've done this month. So the last January, the last day of January, the 31st, yeah, the 31st, I had been working on the holiday slipover. If you've seen my last podcast, the white one that I wasn't very happy with, and I felt like it's supposed to be a gift for my aunt, and I wasn't happy with it at all, and I didn't want to make another one. And I had been eyeing the Friday slipover pattern for a while, but at this time I wasn't very fond of working flat. I was more of a fan of working in the round, so I just didn't want to do like a 4mm project flat. But the reason why I hate working flat is because I feel like my tension isn't very good. I purl way. I know there's ways to fix that with having a smaller needle, but I wasn't gonna do that. But the Friday slipover is worked in broken rib, which means that you knit one, purl one round, and then you just knit the other round. So I casted that on, and I've finished it. I finished on the 10th of this month, and here it is. It's purple, and this is a gift knit for my aunt. I'll show you up close later, because I feel like this isn't the color it actually is. It's way darker actually. I used leftover yarn from my sweater number 1. I had 3 skeins left of the mohair. It's tynn silk mohair by Sandnes Garn, Sandnes Garn in 5043. I don't know the name of the color, that's all I know. and I used some yarn that Kalilah gave to me a while back. Thank you, Kalilah, from Farmer's Daughter's Fiber. I'll put it up in the video. I had 2 skeins of that, and I have not a lot left. The pattern calls for 150 grams, and I think I used like 160, 170 or something. So yeah, this is it. What do we think? I'm not a purple person, and it's quite funny that I say that because I've knit a lot of things in purple nowadays, but I think I like the color of purple yarn and working with purple, but wearing purple is not really my thing. But this is a gift knit, and my aunt said she really liked the color, and I want to make one for myself. I saw in Penrose Knits last video, she did a video where she talked about things she knit for herself in 2021, and she made a Friday slipover in gray, and I have already bought yarn for that before. I'm just waiting to cast it on, and hers was too big for her, but it was so pretty. So I really like, in March maybe I'll make the gray one in like a bigger size, so it's like oversized on me. I can't wait. But yeah, this was, you can watch my last video. It was like a knit vlog and knitting, a week of knitting type of thing, and you'll see that I was very negative about this. I love the pattern and I can't wait to cast it on again. I just felt like when I got to working in the round part, I was quite sick of the pattern, and it felt like I was getting nowhere while knitting. But when I finished it, I was so happy. And yeah, I'm quite sad that I can't keep it because it took a lot of my energy to make this. But then again, it's purple and I won't wear it a lot anyway, so I'm just gonna make a new one for me. But this is the first thing I finished this month. It took me like 2 weeks, over 2 weeks something, so quite a while. But I mean, it's 4mm needles, and yeah. The next thing that I finished was this. I released a pattern in December for it's called the Kalilah sock project bag, and Kalilah, it's named after my friend. She had a cal where she where we would knit one of these, and I'm very grateful for that. It was a lot of fun this month to see what people made with what yarn. This uses no yarn at all. I wound up a hank, an entirely new one, and I took an entirely new skein of mohair because I wanted to use this yarn. It's Explorer Knits and Fibers in the color Meadow. That's yarn I got from Kalilah as well, and it's Midnatssol by Camarose. I don't remember the color, unfortunately, but it made this pretty color. The original pattern calls for Jamieson and Smith's lace yarn and a mohair, and honestly, I've put a sock project in here, and there's a lot of people who has made this pattern in a fingering weight yarn and mohair, and it works. I mean, it's cute, especially if you line it, there won't be any issues. But for some reason, I feel like the original yarn, the thin lace yarn and a mohair, has way more structure than this. So I put my sock projects in the original pattern, and I feel like it holds the yarn better than this. For some, I think it's kind of strange since the yarn is thinner, but I think it has more structure than a merino yarn. So yeah, but it definitely works. And I have some tynn as well, and I feel like that yarn has a lot of structure, so I'll make another one with that yarn and see how that works, because I get that the original yarn is not easy for anyone to find. I just had that yarn at home, So yeah, it's a free pattern. You can make it if you want to. It's quite customizable. I don't know the word, but you know what I mean. So yeah, this one I made because I felt like I had to make a bag. Even though I made so many, I'm quite tired of my own pattern. Can you say that? But it was fun to make it with all the people who made one. And this one will be going to Toggy the dog. They were one of the first people to use my pattern, so I just wanted to send them something as a thank you. And I'll be putting some things in here. I won't just send this, you know what I mean? But yeah, this was the second thing that I finished. And then, what am I wearing, you may ask? No one's asking. It's the NOVICE cardigan by PetiteKnit. I had some mohair that I bought this December from valborg, an indie dyer, in the color pond, I think it was. It was a very special type of blue, but it was on sale when I bought it. 100 crowns a skein, which is $10, maybe more, maybe less, I don't know. And I've had quite a struggle trying to find what project uses only 100 grams of mohair, and I found this pattern. And I've always wanted a cardigan, and I've never found a pattern of a cardigan that I like. I feel like they're all very structured, and I'm wearing pants today because I'm sitting like this and I don't want you to see things you don't want to see. Maybe you do, but I don't want you to see it. But I usually wear dresses, and I feel like a cardigan that's very structured and boxy doesn't look very good on the way with the clothes that I usually wear. So I looked at this pattern and I've had it in mind for quite a while, but as I said, I wasn't a fan of working flat. But after that slipover, I warmed up to it, especially after making this cardigan. Finishing the yoke, I did that in one day. This was so quick. It didn't take a lot of time at all. Do you like the buttons, by the way? I got it from my grandma a while back. She had this box with, she used to crochet and knit and things like that, so she has a lot of buttons saved. A mosquito, sorry. She had a lot of buttons saved, so I have a lot of brown buttons at home, and I love the look of that. I feel like if I were to put blue buttons on this, it wouldn't look as good. It'd look kind of cheap. I feel like this looks a bit luxurious, but let me know what you think. I should do this more structurally and be like, this is the yarn I used. I was watching Röda, her podcast before this, and she's so good with mentioning with what she wears, but whatever. It's Drops Air in color 17, jeansblå. And I wasn't very sure if the yarns would work together, the mohair and the Drops Air, but it did. I can show you actually. I've come prepared. This is the Drops Air that I used, and this is the mohair. And it turned into this. Isn't it pretty? I think it is. And it's long. I made the exact same measurements. I usually play around a lot with measurements and patterns. I often make things shorter, but this time I did the exact, almost everything according to the measurements in the pattern. The only thing that I changed is I made open sleeves instead of cinching them in. Because while I was making this, I was thinking of Kalilah's chunky NOVICE sweater. And I was inspired by the open sleeves. Let me know what you think. But I've been wearing this every day since I blocked it, which was maybe this Monday. It's Friday now. And I've had dogs at home. I've been dog sitting, babysitting dogs. And they have been scratching it up, but it's been holding up. Just I've been sleeping in it as well. But this is the last finished object I made this month. Yeah, and this I always have leftovers for making PetiteKnit patterns, which is good. I would I would suggest if you make a PetiteKnit pattern to buy the exact amount, because I always have leftovers. So a lot of people buy an extra skein when knitting. I never do that because I always have leftover. So, but I don't want to give you that advice because maybe you knit differently than me. But yeah, I'll be making a beanie out of this. Just working in the round and then sewing it together. And be like, have a matching beanie. So I did 3 finished objects this month. A vest, a cardigan, and a little bag. Yeah, I usually do more, but this slipover took a lot of my time, so I'm happy with what I've done this month. But now we're on to whips. There's one that I'm very excited about. I don't know how it'll come off, how it'll look on camera, but it's a test knit. It's my first ever test knit, and I don't because it's a test knit, I don't want to get into it too much because I haven't talked to the designer, Tiffany Lou, if I can do that, but I'll show you for now what it is. It's the Typical Tank by Tiffany Lou. It looks pretty strange right now because I need the ribbing on here. But it's made in tynn by Sandnes garn. Why do I say garn? I'm Swedish. I can say garn. Why do I have to try to be an American? Garn, whatever. Tynn, it was the first time I ever used that yarn. I bought it on sale from a store called Garntua, an hour away from me or something. I didn't know if I was gonna get the test knit slot, or what do you call it? But I bought it anyway because I thought I was like manifesting getting the test knit if I buy the yarn for it. Anyway, and I made this. This is worked flat, so my tension, I don't feel like it's very good. This is made with 3mm needles, way smaller needles than I usually work with, so I had that issue. And then I was working flat, and as I said, I have some difficulties making, here you can really see that the tension isn't as good, but honestly, the yarn, I think here, as you see, it's this icy purple, but it has some brown speckles in it. So I really think that you can't see the tension and everything. That it's not as good as I would want it to be. Oh, look at this folded edge. Isn't it pretty? Yeah, you'll get to see this next month when I'm finished. I broke one of my needles working on this when I had the edge left to do. So here I did 3.25 instead because I didn't have any. I only have one pair of 3mm needles, and I didn't want to, I wanted to finish this, and it turned out great. And I have ordered a pair of smaller needles for the ribbing because I didn't have that size at home, and I just need to go pick it up either this afternoon or tomorrow, and I'll finish this weekend, and I'll send off some of my notes, what I thought, only good things to say about this pattern. So yeah, next month I'll let you know when the pattern is released. So this is my whip that I'm working on right now. I bought 400 grams of tynn, so 8 skeins, and I'm on my 4th. And I don't think I'll be using that up, so it doesn't use a lot of yarn either, so that's good. My next whip I'm so excited about. Oh my god, I need to show you the swatch. Here's the TYPKALBLISS, Typical Tank swatch, and the next thing is this. I showed you in my knit vlog number 3 that I bought some mohair for. This is the caramel sweater I'll be showing you, because I wanted this kind of like marble effect, but I wasn't sure if I liked it after making the swatch. It's Viking mohair. in the color beige, and then it's Sunday by PetiteKnit and SLIPOVER in the color SandnesGarn, not garn, in the color whipped cream. These two. And I wasn't sure if it was gonna look nice, and after making the swatch I asked you on my Instagram, AlexandrasGarn. You can also find me on Ravelry at AlexandrasGarn. I forgot to say that in the beginning. I asked if you like this, and people said yes. And I was quite unsure, but I had the yarn at home. I wasn't gonna send it back, so I decided to cast the sweater on anyway, even if I wasn't sure about the color. But I'm so happy that I kept going, because I'm in love with this. It looks pretty strange right now, but you fold the neckline something like this. I did the short rows yesterday, and I think this is the back. So as you can see, it's longer here in the back. It's quite bunched up right now, then not as long in the front, and I'll show you better up close. But this, it's looking so luxurious. The mohair is really being shown in this because the Sunday is way lighter, and oh, it's so soft. I fell in love with this mohair and the Sunday yarn. This is my first time using Sunday, and I get the hype. Oh my, I get the hype. It's beautiful, and I love the finished fabric. I'm just running out of the first skeins after all of this, and I've done almost half of the raglan part, so I'll be working on this, and I don't know, I'm really happy about it. I feel like I love white sweaters, but I drink a lot of coffee and I spill a lot. I have this thing where I always miss my mouth. I think I'm just so excited to drink something that I don't even have the time to put it up against my mouth before I swallow. There's always liquid around here, so I'm quite terrified of wearing something white, and I keep spilling on it. But something like this, like the coffee stains wouldn't be as obvious as with a totally white sweater. So yeah, very excited about this. I love working. The 3mm needles for the typical tank was too small for me. My hands hurt a lot, but 4mm, oof, it's wonderful. I love it so much. The camera died, but I forgot. I have one more whip. I've shown you this before. I have had this as a whip since November, and I'm not gonna finish it anytime soon because I know myself. I have so many fun things to work on, and I have so many fun things planned, so why would I do this? It's hidden in my closet, and it's gonna stay like that for a while. But I'm thinking I'm gonna keep showing it as a whip until I finish it, so you will be just as excited as me when it's done. But it's my dad's Anchors sweater. You can see it's been in a bag for a while now. Oh no. It's actually looking quite good. It's a size XL, and it's worked with Drops Charisma, and I hate the feeling of working with it because I'm quite sensitive to like I've had not a phobia, but I've been terrified of cotton, like raw cotton that you, ooh, I don't know, is there anyone else pulling apart cotton? I have shivers all over me, and I get that feeling with this yarn. It's scratchy and it's rustic. For me, it's rustic anyway, but I feel like Pergint is softer to work with than this. This is just uncomfortable, so I don't want to pick it up, but I will someday. I'm gonna keep showing you this until I finish it, and when we do, you have to be as excited as I will be, please and thank you. Please and thank you. Now we're done with the whips, And now we're gonna get into acquisitions. I kept saying notions in the last podcast because I get confused. Notions is like this, right? Ow! That was sharp. Like needles and... Does anyone else love doing this? Oh, it's so fun. But acquisitions is yarn, it's everything. So I think I'm supposed to say acquisitions. Let's get into acquisitions. It looks way more, like it's way more in here than it actually is because I have blankets all the way up to here. I bought a lot this month, but like 90% of everything was because I really needed it, like needles. And I also bought a lot from sale. So I put the first yarns that I bought at the top. I bought the mohair from Viking on sale from Garnius. I love Garnius. Garnius, it's a Norwegian yarn shop. I love them. The delivery is really fast and they always have sales. And I bought this one. It's the one I'm using for the caramel sweater, and this gray one for the gray Friday slipover that I'll make. Then I went to Garntuva and I bought purple Sunday on sale for a sweater I'll be making for my cousin's baby, Signe. I'm gonna make an anchor's shirt for her daughter in this color. I bought 3 skeins of this, but I'm just gonna show one of everything that I bought. And she also had a single skein of a gray Sunday by PetiteKnit in the color 1031. And it was like half off, and it was just laying there by itself. So I bought it and I looked it up. I can make an Oslo hat with this in the future. Hopefully I'll have some mohair left over and I can like pair these to make a beanie. I had to buy it, sorry. And then I bought the white Sunday that I'm using for the caramel sweater. It's stuck. Give me a sec. And at Garntuva I also bought these 8 skeins of tynn line. And at Garntuva I went there 2 times. The first time I bought the Sunday and the second time I bought the tynn line. The first time I went there I bought these. I'm quite confused. They say lang yarns, and I've heard about lang yarns, but it also says addy, right? Oh, okay. I get. Okay, wait. Wool addicts as well. These are our Lang Yarns premium needles for wool addicts, made from our friends from Addy. So these needles are made by 3 different brands or something. She had them. Garntuva. And I needed a 3.5 to do the neckline on my Friday slipover. And the second time I needed a pair of shorties, 7mm, for this one, for the sleeves. If you've seen my videos or follow me on Instagram, you know that I cannot stand metal needles. It's not working with them. I find it quite enjoyable to work with them because it goes by very quickly. It feels nice in my hands, but the sound that they make, I'm quite sensitive to sounds and feelings of things, and the sound, it gives me a headache, just like, and it gives me a migraine. It's quite strange. But when I've been working with these, I've been using my AirPods and having noise cancellation on, so it's been working. And since I broke my 3mm needles, that's wooden, I'm thinking of buying smaller needles, like 4 and down, in metal in the future, and I'll just have to use headphones when working with them. But yeah, these were great. Definitely, if you use a yarn like this, like the tynn line, it's 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. Working with wood needles with this, I could tell that it was it would probably be better with metal needles. I'll let you know next time when I've done the ribbing of the typical tank, because then I'll be using metal needles for that. But yeah, definitely do that, because I feel like with wood it was quite tough and I got a lot of pain in my wrists. But these are some needles that I bought, and I also bought these from Knit Pro for the sleeves of my dad's anchor sweater, and I used this to make the neckline of the caramel sweater. And these are bamboo and not wood, and I like that. I like them. I feel like you can really tell the difference with the needles that you use. I couldn't in the beginning, but now that I use so many different ones, it's like needles are becoming a hobby in itself, and something I really want to try different ones, so it's fun buying them separately. I have a set, but I really like fixed circulars as well. And now, oh, I'm so excited. I told you in the last video that I'm great, it's a talent that I have of finding sales, not only for yarn but also clothes, whatever. If I want to buy a coffee maker, for example, and they're not on sale anywhere, I will find a place that has it. If it's in another country or another city, I will find it. It's talent. And I wanted to, when I wanted to do the caramel sweater, when I first thought about it, I wanted to use the original yarn, the Sunday, and a strand of tynn silk mohair by Sandnes, because the pattern calls for it, and I just wanted to. But it's so expensive. I mean, it's a reason for the cost, and I feel like I've used tynn mohair by Sandnes before, and it's worth it. It's the softest one I've ever used, even softer than hand-dyed mohair. But I guess it's not expensive, I just don't have that kind of money. But then I found a store that's in Stenungsund, and that is also like an hour away from where I live. And it wasn't like an online shop where you could buy things, but she had to like send you an email that she had the yarn. It was quite complicated, and she was sick at the time when I ordered, so it took a while for that. I had to email her, and then I didn't see her email, so she called me, and she thought my road, my address that I put in when ordering the yarn, there's also the same address in the town where she lives. So she had called me and asked if she wanted me, this was like a month after I bought the yarn, if I wanted her to come and leave the yarn. But I didn't answer, because I don't answer when people call me. I have a fear of answering the phone. Anyway, so she went to the address, because she thought I lived there, and knocked on the door and asked an old lady if her name was Alexandra. So it was just getting this yarn, it was tough. We didn't have any communication, but eventually I drove up there, and she was the sweetest person ever. She always was in all her emails, but it was a struggle for us. But I finally got the yarn, and it's this beautiful blue color, and it was half off, and I bought 5 skeins of this to make the caramel sweater. So I have 125 grams, but then I changed my mind, right? So I'll be keeping this in my stash. I have yarn, so I guess you could say that I have a stash, but I don't buy yarn just to buy yarn. I always have a project in mind. But for this, now that I didn't do the caramel sweater, I don't. I have some ideas. We'll get to that after this. But yeah, so it'll stay in my stash for a while. The 5 skeins of this. And when I got to her store, she had a lot of sales. I don't know if she's like gonna shut the store down or anything. I'll leave the website here, because I think she still has some sales up. So if you're from Sweden, definitely order from her. It was me who made it a struggle for us. You will not have any issues with the website. It was me. It's all on me. That it took a month for me to get the yarn. But anyway, I saw that she had some coupes by SLIPOVER on sale as well. And that's the same thing. Every time I've made a project that calls for like this, drops air, the Sunday sweater, I've always gone into yarn stores and on websites thinking, should I buy coops instead of drops air? And I always change my mind because it's a lot of money. But she had coops half off as well. And I asked her to see the color and I couldn't stop myself. I'll take it out of the bag for you. It's gorgeous. I really hope the color comes across as well. Oh my god, I love blue. It's so beautiful. It has some white speckles in there and it's so soft. I feel like honestly drops air is softer than this, but I feel like this has more structure. I'm obsessed and I need the perfect project for this. Six skeins of this. I'm so happy! I haven't taken it out of the bag yet because I want to keep it. I don't ever want to use this. I just want to look at it. But we're going to get into... I need some help from you guys with... We'll get into that. The last thing that I bought, I got yesterday. Look. Fru Valborg, she's my favorite indie dyer. She's the first indie dyer that I found after looking for local ones, Swedish ones. And I've been to her open studio. She has a podcast that I love. I love her husband. He's so funny. I love her. And she was having a sale. And I went in and I looked at everything and I wanted all of it. But even if it was on sale, hand-dyed yarn is very expensive. But then Marie, Knit by M, I'll leave her Instagram on here. She's a friend of mine and she had just bought yarn on sale from a Danish indie dyer. And she convinced me, so after a week of looking at Fru Valborg's website and looking at the sales that she had, in less than 5 minutes Marie made me buy something. Because I knew that I couldn't buy more than 2 100 grams skeins of something because I couldn't afford more than that. So I was planning on making another Friday slipover if I were to buy some of her yarn, but I knew that I would have leftovers. But then she had these merino sock yarn in 50 gram skeins. She had 3 left. I don't think you can see that. She had 3 left and I bought them. These are in the color nutmeg and I'll be making a brown Friday slipover as well. I'll make this after the green one because I'm gonna have to buy mohair for this, and I feel like it's smarter to use up the yarn and mohair I already have at home. And I'll make, I love the Friday slipover pattern, so I'll definitely use this in the future. And Marie has brown for a Friday slipover as well, so we'll be matching. And I'm usually not the one to buy. I just feel like there's so many nice yarns like this and like Sunday by yarn brands that aren't as expensive as buying hand-dyed yarn. So when I'm thinking of buying hand-dyed yarn, I always want something variegated because I feel like that's something you can't get with normal yarns like these. But this isn't just like brown. It has some light speckles in there. I can't explain it, but it's gonna be so beautiful. But I need to find the perfect mohair for this. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm happy with everything that I bought, and I have a cabinet, if you've seen that, where I keep all my yarn. And it looks quite large, but it really isn't because it's triangle shaped, so I can't fit a lot of yarn in there. But my shelf is full, and I usually have a lot of anxiety when I have a lot of yarn at home, but now that I know almost everything I'm gonna make with it, I'm not as stressed and I'm just excited because now I won't be buying yarn for a while. I can't, but I mean, yeah. hope this was a nice segment. I hope you had a good time listening to this. But now I need you to really listen up because I need some help. I just need to fix this mess first. So after I got these yarns and I knew that I wasn't gonna make a caramel sweater with this, and I didn't know what to make with this, I went on to Ravelry and I looked up the coos yarn and I looked at pattern ideas, and I found that the dahlia sweater calls for coos and tynn silk mohair, and I thought about making that because it's a lace pattern. Look, I'm very particular about my knitting. I don't like the look of color work, or at least I don't like shawls or cowls. Is that what you call them? I don't like the look of cables or color work. I feel kind of bad saying that because I don't know. I haven't found a pattern for color work, like a color work sweater that I'm willing to put the work in for. I get doing it because it looks like art, but I can't picture myself wearing any of the color work sweaters that I've seen. But I don't want to say that because maybe I'll find one. The same thing with cables. Cable sweaters reminds me of the Ralph Lauren sweaters all the popular girls would wear when I was young. I could never afford them. So that's kind of the vibe it gives me. So I'm not really fond of that. But lace patterns, however, is something I really could get into. So when I saw that I could make the chunky dahlia and that it wasn't very difficult, I asked around on Instagram. I thought about it. But it calls for 100 grams of mohair. And I have 125 grams of this. And I don't want to have like one skein left over. I'd rather find a pattern that calls for 125 grams. So then I also thought, am I gonna wear the chunky dahlia? Yes, I'm going to. But should I make another novice cardigan since I'm using this so much with it instead? Because then I'll be able to use all of the, like, really get a use out of this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful yarn. But then I thought, well, I already have a blue one, so why should I make another blue one? I'd rather make like a white one or a beige or something. So then I wasn't gonna do that either, and the novice cardigan calls for 100 grams as well. And then I thought, I love my Sunday sweater. I'd really like to make another one with this coos, because all of these 3 sweaters that I'm mentioning use the same amount, and it's the amount that I have at home. But the difference is I was planning on using these 2 together, right? I'm still gonna have all the patterns calls for 100 grams of mohair. So what I've done with the needle that I'm gonna pick up today, I also have 3 skeins of Lana Grossa mohair yarn because it was on sale as well. So I bought a 100 grams of blue mohair that fits this yarn better than this does. So I know for sure that I will either make the novice cardigan, the Sunday sweater, or the chunky dahlia. But I'm not sure, so I'm asking you what you think I should make. This is a long segment, but I need to, okay, look. At the time I wanted to make, like, I've changed my mind so much because I was thinking, okay, well, I'll make both a blue Sunday sweater and a blue novice cardigan. And then I thought about a sweater that I had crocheted right as I quit my job this summer. I used Blue Drops Air and Blue Drops Kid Silk, and I never use my crochet sweaters anymore because they're so warm. As you know, crochet uses a lot more yarn and they're boxy, but the idea of frogging a crochet sweater with mohair, I was not gonna do that with the different panels sewn together, finding the end. But last Saturday, a week ago, while I was having this, like, I don't know what to do, I unraveled the cardigan. I'll put up a picture of how the cardigan looked before, and here's how it looks right now. I am not going to, this has the mohair with it as well, I'm not gonna split these up. I'm not gonna do that. So I have yarn so I can make, these are like 8 skeins, I think, the same amount almost. So I have all of this yarn so I can make like a novice cardigan with this. I'm just as confused as you are right now. But basically, the pros of doing a chunky dahlia. My goal for this year is to learn new stuff. Like, I want to make a cabled sweater because I want to learn the technique. I know it's not, I know how to do it, but I want to try it. And I want to learn how to do color work as well. I want to learn everything. I want to up my knitting game. So that's a pro of doing the chunky dahlia. And I think it looks pretty. Camera died again. I think it looks pretty. I think I like other lace patterns more than the chunky dahlia. I don't know. I could make it. I could make it. But then again, the cons is that I maybe will not wear it as much. The Sunday sweater, it's good in the way that I will not have to buy another pattern because money is pretty tight at the moment. I love reusing my patterns, so that's a pro. I'll use that a lot. The white Sunday sweater that I've made before, that's the sweater I use the most. I don't think there's a con. Maybe that the yoke is quite annoying to make, but that's like the only con about it. And the novice cardigan, I'll get a lot of use out of it because I love using cardigans, but since I already have a blue one, I think one will be worn less. So I'm up to making everything that I mentioned, and if you have another pattern maybe that uses 100 grams of mohair and why do I want to say 6 in Swedish? 6 in, what's 6? 6 times 50 is, and that uses 300 grams of coats or drops hair. Let me know. I know that she has a cardigan, my favorite things knitwear, that calls for that. I don't like the look of that cardigan, sorry. And if I have, like, if most of you tell me to make a chunky dahlia, for example, I'll just make a Sunday sweater using this. I could also use this for sweater number 9. I have that pattern. I don't know. I'm just looking for help because in Swedish we call it bolla, balling, balls, bolla, bolla between the, I throw you a ball, you throw me a ball back. We have to bolla a little bit. I need to hear what you have to say. Yeah, what you think, what I should make. And it's fun for you guys to be involved as well. I think this was it for this podcast. For the last one, I restarted the camera, like the intro, multiple times. I've only been recording one time in this podcast, and I'm quite happy about that. But it means that maybe I could have been more prepared, but I don't care. We're having a good time. I have one thing that I want to mention as well before ending this. In the last video, I showed you that I moved all of my knitting stuff from my knitting room into my bedroom. So I'm sitting in my bed right now, and I wanted to film my podcast in here. And I gave you different options of what setup, and the one that people said the most was this one, because this has the best lighting. But the next podcast I will film from the other option that people said the most as well. And I'll ask you again to choose between those two, and we'll keep recording from that place. And I also, in this knitting area that I have right now, I put up a painting that I found at a secondhand store. And I asked you guys if she's knitting or not, because I couldn't tell, like, if I was making it up, because it also looked like the thing that I thought she was knitting also looked like meat, like she was doing something. I was very confused. And a sweet Swedish person told me that it's a painting called kålmargit, cabbage margit, and it's also called stickande kullan, knitting something, I don't really know. And it's a painting by a Swedish painter called Anders Son. I think it says that it's called Delicatelian Girl Knitting in English. That's what some pages are saying anyway. And I can't find the site that I found this information on at first, but the picture of her, the girl, was good friends with the painter and the wife, and she was a model for more paintings than this one. And she would always sit and sing while he was painting, and if she wasn't singing, he would sing or something. So there was one like museum page that said that. So now when I'm looking at the painting, I can like kind of see that she's singing something while knitting, and I love her. I look at her every single day. And the funny thing is that the commenter, I told her like, I just found out that my grandma used to have a huge painting with the same. This painting was one of the most common ones back in the day, which is quite funny. And because I didn't know it, but she had a huge one when she was growing up in her apartment as well, in like the 60s or something. And now her sister has it, so we had like a big one in my family, and hopefully I can like finesse getting that painting and I can put it up in like a future yarn room. That would be iconic. And I also they had a smaller one in the house that I grew up in as well, and I didn't know. And then the commenter, I told that to the commenter, I forgot your name, sorry, but she also said that her grandma had one as well. I don't know, that was just some information I just wanted to share. Yeah, I hope this was a good podcast. Inga, Knitting Traditions, saw my last podcast. She reached out to me. That terrified me. Tiffany Lou. Why did I say that like I don't know her name? Typical Bliss. Tiffany Lou mentioned me in her Twitch stream last night. And I'm very happy. Thank you for all the kind comments. But the negative comments got to me a lot this week. And there was also a lot of comments that were like hidden compliments. And I've tried to forget about it, but I'm the one who let things like that get to me. So hopefully, if you're thinking of writing something mean, the world is in a bad place, we're all gonna die, let's just be kind to each other, please and thank you. And I'm gonna go and edit this, and hopefully everything comes out right. I'm gonna go watch the news after this as well. I'm gonna try and breathe. I hope you're breathing with me. And let me know what you thought about this. I look forward a lot to next month. I'm noticing myself writing down my podcast better, thinking of things during the month, writing them down of things that I want to mention. So I can just feel this podcast situation getting better every time. But the next time you're gonna see me in a different location, and you'll have to let me know if you like that better than this. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. My name is Alexandra. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at AlexandrasGarn. I'll try to take a picture of myself in this today and post. And take care, stay safe. Please take care of yourself. I beg of you, it's important. Kisses, hugs, peace and love. Bye.